Right, so that's the loop finished on this 9900K custom build. I had 2 runs left to make, which were this one here and this one, or the longer one here. I did think they were going to cause me problems, but I got them both on the first attempt. I did think this one would cause me more of an issue, as it's not 90 degrees, it's actually an offset on that. But as I said, while obviously bending the tubing, I got them on the first attempt. The only thing that I had to do was adjust and trim up the length of them, which took seconds to do. I used some fairy liquid on the ends of the tubing and a little bit inside of the O-rings. It makes fitting the tubing that little bit more easier, and it basically just glides and pops into the push fittings. Regarding the fittings on this build, basically all I used was Bits Power 16mm push fittings, which have a dual O-ring inside. So it's got 2 O-rings, and they're very, very hard for leakage. I think the only way you can get bad leakage on these is if you accidentally slice through an O-ring or have dual or even one failure, which is very, very rare. You're going to have to be very, very unlucky to get that. Another thing I used was 90-degree rotary fittings. These are very, very handy, and if you build custom PCs for a living, these are pretty much the fittings that you use a lot in builds. So I'll quickly take you through the loop order, how we set this one up. I use the rule of thumb of going to the first component first. So as you can see, the middle fitting on this is the out from the pump. So we're coming out from the pump into the radiator, out the radiator, and we're going back into the GPU, out from the GPU into the top radiator, then coming out from the radiator, and we're going back into the CPU block, out from the CPU block, and we return back into the reservoir. So a nice simple loop. As I said before, go to the nearest component first for a nice, clean, tidy loop order. While obviously I was doing the loop, I had to work from the back to the front, because obviously with it being so small, there's just no room to do it the other way. So obviously I had to do some wiring as well while doing the custom loop. So I use obviously the Cable Mod UV lighting kit, which comes with the little handy wireless controller. So I can turn this on and show you guys. That there is meant to be, I think it's meant to be pink, but it looks UV purple to me. Let's go through them quickly. So red, we've got green, we've got blue, we've got white, and then we can go, you can change the density of the lights themselves. So we can go 25%, 50%, 75% or 100%. I think I'm just going to keep them on 100%, which they are just now. And then obviously we can do it on flashing. We can do like a fade. it fades obviously in and out different colours, or we can basically choose, you know, what kind of colour you actually want. Like I said, this is obviously a UV kit, so once we get some UV fluid in there, it'll look fantastic. So I've got the power supply set up with the jumper to give us some power. This is the wireless power for the LED kit. Obviously it runs from SATA power, and then we've obviously got the Molex for the pump. So we'll get this filled up with some distilled water. We'll give it a leak test for a couple of hours, and once that has completed and I'm happy with everything, it's a case of installing the cabling for like the GPU. I've still got the 24 pin connector to go in, and right up the back there, I don't know if you can see it, come in here, we've got the CPU cable as well, along with an SSD cable at the back to go in and tidy up, but I'll show you that on another video. So let's get this filled up. Right guys, this is the leak test for the build. I've already got the reservoir pretty much filled up. At the moment I've got no leaks, so I know that the pump top pump reservoir at the bottom is fully secure. I've obviously got paper towels below the pump at the bottom, just in case anything does happen, which won't, but obviously just playing on the safe side. I've got paper towels under the fittings for the GPU, and I've also got a couple of paper towels down at the riser cable, which is going into the GPU ×16 slot, just in case we get any drips from the fittings at the CPU block area. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to activate the pump, and you guys should be able to see the water getting fired through the loop. So let's see. You'll be seeing it for the first time, the same as myself. So if we've got any leaks, then you'll probably see them exactly at the same time as I do it. Let's just bring the camera around a little bit. There we go. Okay. Right. Let's go for it. So we're using obviously the Molex connector for this, which is obviously plugged into the PSU. So let's go for it. Fingers crossed. There we go. Fantastic. Awesome. So it looks like we've got no leaks at all. So let's fill this up with more water. What I need to do is I've obviously got a little tube running in to fill the reservoir up. Once obviously the loop has pretty much filled up, I'll remove this tubing and we can fill it up or top it off the reservoir. It just makes it easier to get the air out. So obviously still checking for leaks at the moment. I don't see any. No, don't see any leaks at all, which is obviously a good sign. I didn't expect any, but never say never on these builds, because you never know what's going to happen until obviously water is fully passing through the loop itself. So let's get this bad boy filled up. and then we'll get it turned back on again. Obviously using a little bottle where you squeeze it, and also the let's see if I can bring it into frame. There we go. Where the water just gets squeezed out a little pipe into the tubing. Right, let's try that again. Okay guys, let's do this again. There we go. Power. And disconnect. Yeah, looking good. So I don't see any, yet again, any leaks. I always seem to think I'm seeing something, but I'm not. So let's get this filled up again, and then we can hopefully get the camera off the tripod and get a good look at what's going on. On a funny aside, I've got the dogs lying beside me, and one of them has just farted, and it's a smelly one, so that should make you smile. Right, let's try that. Let's pull this back on, guys. Let's go for it. Oh, we're still needing, obviously the two radiators are taking up a lot of water, and we're still not even returning back into the reservoir yet, which is obviously okay. Yeah, it's taking a good amount of water. I think this will be the last filling up, and then that should be returning back into the reservoir, and then we can just let it run for a good hour, and double checking the fittings, making sure they're dry, making sure there's no leaks, drips, anything like that is obviously a bad sign. So let's do it once again. Just okay, that's us returning back into the reservoir, guys. Let's just put the rest of this water in. As you can see, there's a lot of air bubbles in it that need to come out. So what will happen is this will just keep running until all the air is passed out. Just keep filling this up. Usually this takes a good while, so we'll let this run, and it'll just get all the air trapped out it. We might need to tip the build up and down, just to make sure 100% that all the air is out. And once I get all this in, what I'll do is I'll take the camera off the stand and we'll quickly do a walk around. Pretty much nearly emptied this bottle now, so it's taken a good portion of water, of distilled water, to fill up. So we're still filling this up. Okay, that's us dry on the water, guys. So let me just take you off the stand. guys. That's the reservoir in there. As you can see, it's not fully topped up yet. Still a good portion to go, but I'll pull back and let you have a look at what's going on. As you can see, there's a lot of bubbles and stuff like that, so this will probably need flushed. Usually like to flush it a good 2 or 3 times with distilled water, making sure there's no debris. But I did clean the radiators out prior to everything going in, so I know there's nothing in the radiators that can contaminate anything. So I'll leave it running for an hour, guys, and we'll be back shortly to show you obviously what's been happening. And guys, this is going to be the filling of the coloured fluid now. We've done a couple of leak tests with just the distilled water. So as you can see at the bottom, I've got the reservoir pretty much all the way filled. I'm just about to connect to the pump, and then we'll get some power through the pump, and that should fire the fluid through the system. We're nearly there. As soon as I get the fluid primed and in through the system, it's just a case of getting the covers back on and sticking an HDMI cable in and basically booting the system. So let's get the fluid fired through the system and crack on, and then that way we can get the system booted and into a BIOS, and then we can see obviously where we're going to go from there. So let's go for it, guys. Just getting that cable sorted. Here we go. Okay. Right. And we're off. Oh, look at that colour. That looks absolutely fantastic. Ugh. This is the slow part. It's filling the system. The very slow part. So as you can see, it's UV green I've got going on the fluid. I think also once this is primed and fully filled, it will look absolutely fantastic. It really will. Always checking for water leaks. There was one thing that was wrong with the system, but I'll do another video on that. I've got the parts here. It was something simple, an easy fix, but it could have wrecked the entire system. So that video will be coming up shortly. Keep your eyes out for that. And this is the painstaking exercise of filling the loop with a squeezy bottle. It just takes forever, but slow is fast, fast is slow. You always want to do it the right way. Right, let's see how that goes. I think we're almost filled, guys. colour just looks fantastic on camera. It really does. I've got a little air pocket there, but that'll go away once the system gets purged of air. It just takes its time. So let's start it again. And that's the look filled, guys. As you can see, we've got two air pockets, one there and one there. But once I fill the reservoir up to the top with fluid, these two air pockets should disappear. It does take a good while for all the air to come out the loop, but I'm always adjusting things, thinking things are out of alignment, but it's just usually my eye that kicks in seeing things. So yeah, guys, next thing will be the BIOS, going into the BIOS. So let me get this all filled up and tested for another hour, and we'll see you in the BIOS screen. So have a good one. Until the next one, please like and subscribe, but I'm sure you're already doing that. Cheers, guys.